I'm not comfortable with him around my daughter.
Not this topic again.
Daddy, I love this ice cream.
Yes, baby. You're not having yours yet? I'll take it from here. Appreciate you, but I'm always going to be available for my daughter.
Something isn't right. I can't believe he has been a scam all along.
The morning sun filtered through the floor-to-ceiling windows of the Sundial restaurant, casting golden light across the white tablecloth where Sienna sat, her untouched mimosa sweating in the Atlanta heat. Her eyes were swollen, rimmed with red from a night of tears, and Zoe's endless questions. Across from her, JP reached across the table, his hand warm and steady as it covered hers. "Tell me what happened," he said softly, his voice the perfect blend of concern and comfort. Sienna's throat tightened. "She cried for an hour, JP. A whole hour. Kept asking why I lied to her, why I didn't tell her sooner that Mr. Tay was her daddy." Her voice cracked on the last word. "She looked at me like I'd betrayed her." JP's thumb traced circles on the back of her hand. "You were protecting her. That's what good mothers do. You weren't ready to have that conversation, and Tae Young had no right to force it." "I know, but..." "No buts." He leaned forward, his expression earnest. "You've been carrying this alone for 4 years. You get to decide when and how your daughter learns the truth. Not him, not anyone else." Sienna felt something in her chest loosen slightly. This was why she needed JP. He understood. He supported her without judgment, without making her feel like she'd failed. "Thank you," she whispered. "So what happens now?" JP asked, his tone carefully casual as he reached for his coffee. "How involved will Tae Young be?" Sienna straightened in her chair, some of her usual strength returning. "He gets to be her father. That's it. Wednesday afternoons and Saturday mornings to start. Supervised until I'm sure he's consistent. And us?" JP's eyes searched hers. "Does this change anything between us?" "No." The word came out firm, definite. "You and me, we're separate from all that. He's Zoe's father, you're..." She paused, a small smile finally touching her lips. "You're mine." JP's relief was visible, though subtle. He raised her hand to his lips, pressing a kiss to her knuckles. "I'm here for you. Always. Whatever you need." As they left the restaurant an hour later, Sienna felt grateful. At least she had one man in her life she could count on. One man who wouldn't let her down. If you're already hooked on this drama, hit that subscribe button right now and drop a comment. Should Sienna have listened to Tae Young's warnings? Let's dive in. Monday afternoon arrived with the kind of humid heat that made Atlanta feel like a sauna. Sienna sat on her living room couch, Zoe beside her in a yellow sundress, her curly hair pulled into 2 puffs. The 4-year-old kicked her legs nervously, her eyes darting between her mother and the door. "Mommy, is Superman Man really coming?" Sienna's heart clenched. "Yes, baby. Remember we talked about this? We're going to have a special conversation. About him being my..." "Daddy for real?" "Yes, sweetheart." The doorbell rang, and Zoe jumped up, but Sienna caught her hand. "Wait. Let me get it." Tae Young stood on her doorstep in casual clothes, dark jeans and a cream-colored cashmere sweater that probably cost more than most people's monthly rent. In his hands, he held a small wrapped box and what looked like a stuffed animal. His eyes were uncertain, hopeful, terrified all at once. "Hi," he said quietly. "Come in." Sienna stepped aside, her voice professional, distant. Tae Young's eyes immediately found Zoe, who was peeking around the corner, suddenly shy. His entire face transformed, softened in a way Sienna hadn't seen in years. "Hey there, little one." "Hi, Superman Man," Zoe whispered. Sienna guided them to the living room, positioning herself between them. She took a deep breath, looked at her daughter's expectant face, and made the leap. "Zoe, sweetheart, Remember how you asked if Mr. Tay was your daddy? Zoe nodded vigorously. Well, you were right. Sienna's voice stayed steady despite the emotion churning in her chest. Mr. Tay is your daddy. For real. Your real daddy. Zoe's eyes went wide. Like for real? For real? Not pretend? Tae-young moved closer, dropping to his knees so he was at Zoe's eye level. His voice shook. Yes, baby girl, I'm your real daddy. I'm so sorry I wasn't here before, but I'm here now, and I'm never leaving again. For a moment, Zoe just stared at him, processing. Then her face broke into the biggest smile Sienna had ever seen. I have a daddy, she shrieked, launching herself into Tae-young's arms. He caught her, his arms wrapping around her small body as he buried his face in her curly hair. His shoulders shook, and Sienna realized he was crying, actually crying. I love you so much, he whispered into Zoe's hair. I love you so much, baby girl. I love you too, Daddy. Zoe pulled back, her hands on his cheeks. Can I call you Daddy everywhere? Not just at home? Yes. Tae-young's voice was choked. You can call me Daddy everywhere, always. I want you to. Sienna watched them, her emotions a complicated tangle. Joy for Zoe, who was finally getting what she'd always wanted. Pain for herself, remembering when she dreamed of this moment, but with all of them together, a family. Bitterness that it had taken 4 years, and his guilt to bring him back. After Zoe ran to her room to get toys to show her daddy, Tae-young stood, wiping his eyes. Thank you, he said to Sienna, for giving me this chance. I'm not doing this for you. Her voice was cold. I'm doing it for her. I know, but still, thank you. He hesitated. I was thinking, for the first few weeks, maybe supervised visits, Wednesday afternoons and Saturday mornings, whatever you're comfortable with. Sienna considered. Supervised at first. We'll see how it goes. I'll be on time, every time, I promise. You're proving it to her, not me. Don't forget that. 3 weeks passed in a blur of father-daughter outings. The first week, Sienna took them to Zoo Atlanta, maintaining a careful distance while Tae-young and Zoe explored. She watched from a bench as he bought Zoe an overpriced stuffed giraffe from the gift shop, as Zoe explained every animal fact she'd learned at preschool, as his eyes never left their daughter's face with an expression of pure wonder. At the giraffe exhibit, Zoe tugged on his hand. Daddy? He froze, tears immediately filling his eyes. Yes, baby? Can I call you Daddy here too? Not just at home? Tae-young dropped to his knees right there, not caring about the dirt or the other families. You can call me Daddy everywhere, always. Every single place we go. I'm your daddy forever. Later, over ice cream. Vanilla for Zoe, chocolate for Tae-young, untouched strawberry for Sienna. They sat at a small table. The awkwardness was palpable. Tae-young tried to make conversation.
Daddy, I love this ice cream.
Yes, baby. You're not having yours yet?
Asked about her business, her life. Sienna's responses were clipped, professional, giving nothing away. Week 2 brought their first unsupervised outing. Sienna dropped Zoe off at the Georgia Aquarium entrance, her stomach in knots despite her outward calm. Be good for your daddy, Zoe, she said, kneeling to adjust her daughter's jacket. I will, Mommy. Zoe was bouncing with excitement. Tae-young appeared at the entrance, and Sienna stood. I'll have her back by 2, he promised. I won't be late. You better not be. As Sienna handed over their daughter, her hand brushed Tae-young's. Both pulled back quickly, as if burned. Their eyes met for a fraction of a second, his hopeful, hers guarded, before Sienna turned and walked away. Inside the aquarium, Tae-young and Zoe stood in front of the jellyfish tank, the blue light casting an ethereal glow on their faces. Zoe slipped her hand into his naturally, unconsciously, and Tae-young felt his heart might burst. Daddy, look. That one looks like cotton candy. It does, doesn't it? He pulled out his phone awkwardly, trying to figure out the selfie camera. Zoe giggled at his incompetence, taking the phone from him. Like this, Daddy. You have to flip it. She positioned them, her cheek pressed against his. Say cheese. They took 17 selfies. Tae-young would later look at each one, marveling at how natural they looked together. How right. At drop-off, Zoe burst through the door with stories, talking so fast Sienna could barely keep up. Behind her, Tae-young lingered on the doorstep. She was great, he said. Perfect. We had the best time. Good. Thank you for being on time. He took a breath. Sienna, can we talk? Just 5 minutes? Her walls slammed up immediately. We have nothing to discuss. See you. Wednesday. Sienna. Goodbye, Tae-young. She closed the door, leaning against it as she heard his footsteps retreat down the walkway. Week 3 found them at Piedmont Park, Tae-young pushing Zoe on the swings. Her laughter filled the afternoon air, pure and joyful. Other fathers at the playground nodded to him in that universal dad solidarity. He nodded back, feeling for the first time like he belonged in this world. Higher, Daddy. Higher. You sure? He called back. You might fly away. I won't. You'll catch me. Her trust was absolute, unearned, freely given. It humbled him. When Sienna arrived for pickup, she stood at the edge of the playground, watching them. Zoe ran to a friend from preschool, and Sienna heard her daughter's proud voice. This is my daddy. His name is Mr. Tae, but I call him Daddy. The other child's father smiled at Tae-young. Got yourself a beautiful daughter there. I do, Tae-young replied, his voice thick with emotion. I really do. Sienna felt something crack in her chest. This was what she'd wanted 4 years ago. This exact scene. Tae-young being a father, being proud of Zoe, being present, but he'd chosen business over them, chosen his company over his family, and now he got to swoop in and be the hero? When Zoe spotted her, she ran over. Mommy, did you see? Daddy pushed me so high. I saw, baby. Time to go home, though. Tae-young approached, and Sienna saw the moment he noticed her expression. Sienna, say goodbye to Daddy, Zoe. But Mommy, now, Zoe. As they drove away, Sienna glanced in the rearview mirror. Tae-young stood alone in the parking lot, his hands in his pockets, watching them leave. She told herself she didn't care about the disappointment on his face. 4 weeks after the official reveal, JP stood in the Nexus Innovations conference room, architectural plans spread across the table, 3D renderings rotating on the large screen behind him. Sienna sat at the head of the table, Crystal and 2 other financial officers flanking her. As you can see, JP said, his voice confident and professional, the mixed-use development is ready for its final phase. I need $5 million to break ground. The property is secured as collateral, and the financial projections show a healthy ROI within 18 months. Crystal leaned forward, studying the numbers. That's substantial. Should we phase the funding? $2 million now? $3 million at the 6-month mark? JP's expression remained pleasant. I understand the caution, but construction timelines don't work that way. Contractors, materials, permits, everything is scheduled based on having full funding available. Delays would cost more in the long run. Sienna studied the documentation. Everything looked solid. The projections were conservative, but promising. The collateral more than covered the risk. The numbers. Check out, she said finally. I'm approving the full amount. Crystal hesitated. Sienna, maybe we should... The collateral covers it, Crystal, and the project is sound. Sienna's tone was final. JP smiled, relief flickering across his face so quickly most would miss it. You won't regret this. This project is going to change Atlanta's skyline. As they signed the contracts, Sienna caught movement through the glass wall. Tae Young was crossing the floor toward her office, Zoe skipping beside him. They were early for pickup. Tae Young stopped when he saw the conference room meeting. Through the glass, he watched JP and Sienna sign documents, watched the professional intimacy between them, the way JP's hand brushed Sienna's shoulder as he leaned over to point at something on the contract. His expression darkened. Crystal noticed him, waved. He didn't wave back, just watched, his jaw tight. After JP left with his copies of the contract, Tae Young entered through the conference room door. What was that about? Sienna's defenses rose immediately. Business, not your concern. Business with your boyfriend? We keep business and personal separate. The emphasis on we was deliberate. Unlike some people. The dig landed. When they'd been married, he'd let his business concerns override everything, including their relationship. Sienna, Zoe's waiting in my office. Please don't be late returning her. Dismissed. Again. He left, frustration and concern warring in his chest. That Friday, 1 week before Father's Day, Zoe's preschool teacher, Miss Rodriguez, made an announcement. Boys and girls, next Friday is very special. We're having our Father's Day celebration. The classroom erupted in excited chatter. Zoe's hand shot up. Ms. Rodriguez, my daddy can come. I have a daddy now. That evening, Zoe showed Sienna the permission slip, bouncing on her toes. Can daddy come? Please, please, please. Sienna looked at the colorful flyer with its hand-traced handprints and We Love Our Dads banner. Of course, sweetheart. Let me text him. She typed out a message. Zoe's school Father's Day event. Friday, 10th a.m. Are you available? Tae Young's response came within seconds. I'll be there. Thank you for telling me. Sienna stared at his message, then typed back, This is for Zoe, not you. His reply, I know. Still, thank you. Later that evening, JP came over for dinner. As Sienna chopped vegetables for a salad, she mentioned casually, Zoe has a school thing Friday morning. JP looked up from where he was helping Zoe with a puzzle. Want me to come? For moral support? Sienna considered. Having JP there might make the whole thing less awkward. Sure, that would be nice. Both of you are coming? Zoe asked, her eyes wide. The adults exchanged a glance. Daddy is coming? Sienna clarified. JP might stop by. Friday morning arrived bright and humid. By 10:05 a.m., Sienna stood in the doorway of Zoe's preschool classroom, her daughter beside her, both scanning the hallway. No Tae Young. Mommy, where is he? Zoe's voice was small, worried. Sienna pulled out her phone, typing furiously. Where are you? You promised. No response. Inside the classroom, Ms. Rodriguez called out, Fathers and children, please find your seats. We're about to begin. Zoe's face crumpled. Mommy, I'm sure he's just stuck in traffic, baby. But Sienna's voice was tight with fury. Around them, fathers and children settled at the tiny tables. Zoe stood alone, tears starting to stream down her cheeks. Sienna wanted to kill Tae Young. Actually, physically harm him for doing this to their daughter. Hey, kiddo. JP's voice came from the doorway. He walked over, crouching down to Zoe's level. Your dad's stuck in traffic? Zoe nodded miserably. Want me to sit with you until he gets here? Zoe looked at her mother. Sienna nodded, grateful despite everything. JP took a seat at one of the tiny chairs, his knees nearly to his chest. The activity was decorating picture frames. JP helped Zoe glue sequins and buttons onto the frame, patient and gentle. Other fathers glanced over, assuming he was Zoe's dad. At 10:25, the door burst open. Tae-young stood there in an expensive suit, his tie loosened, hair slightly mussed, out of breath. His eyes frantically scanned the room until they landed on Zoe, at a table with JP. His expression transformed from relief to cold fury in an instant. He crossed the classroom in long strides, his expensive shoes echoing on the linoleum. "I'm here, Zoe. I'm so sorry, baby." Zoe's face exploded with joy. "Daddy!" She launched herself at him, and he caught her, holding her tight. JP stood, stepping back gracefully. "Hey, man, just keeping her seat warm." Tae-young's eyes were ice as he extended his hand for a handshake that was anything but friendly. "I appreciate that." His tone said the opposite, "but I'll take it from here." JP nodded, smile easy. "Of course. Just helping out." Tae-young sat in the tiny chair beside Zoe, deliberately loud enough for nearby tables to hear. "I'll always make time for my daughter. Always." The statement was directed at JP, at Sienna, at everyone who might doubt his commitment. Sienna watched the masculine posturing, deeply uncomfortable. JP caught her eye, shrugged, "Your move," and slipped out quietly. After the event, as parents filtered out, Tae-young approached Sienna. "Emergency board meeting. I couldn't get away until it was over. I came as soon as I could." "You promised her." "I know, and I came. I'll always come, Sienna. Even if I'm late, I'll show up." 25 minutes late. "But I was here." His voice was firm. "That's what matters. I was here." Over the next month, life settled into a rhythm that almost felt sustainable. Sienna and JP's relationship deepened in ways that felt easy, natural. They had dinner at the Optimist, Atlanta's upscale seafood restaurant, where JP charmed the waiter and made her laugh with stories about difficult clients. He integrated seamlessly into her professional life, attending a business dinner where he effortlessly conversed with her investors about market trends and development opportunities. At her home, movie nights became routine. Zoe would nestle between them on the couch, JP's arm draped casually over the back, his fingers occasionally brushing Sienna's shoulder. They watched Frozen for what felt like the 100th time, and when Zoe fell asleep, JP would carry her to bed without being asked. One night, as they cleaned up popcorn bowls in the kitchen, JP pulled Sienna close. "I love you," he said, the words simple, direct. Sienna's breath caught. "I love you too." The kiss that followed felt like a promise, like safety, like everything she'd been missing. Meanwhile, Tae-young's schedule with Zoe became sacred. Wednesday afternoons meant trips to the Children's Museum, where he'd crouch beside exhibits, listening intently as Zoe explained how water wheels worked or why dinosaurs went extinct. Saturday mornings were for pancakes at a diner near his hotel, where the waitress learned to bring extra chocolate chips without asking. He attended her ballet class observation day, sitting on a folding chair too small for his frame, watching Zoe fumble through plies with an expression of absolute adoration. Afterward, he bought her the pink leotard she'd been eyeing in the dancewear shop window. "Daddy, it's too expensive," Zoe whispered, looking at the price tag. "Nothing is too expensive for my princess," he replied, not caring who heard. He taught her Korean phrases during their time together. "Sarangae," he'd say, hand over his heart. "It means I love you." "Sarah Hay," Zoe would repeat carefully. "I love you too, Daddy." Every night, no matter where he was, he FaceTimed her before bed. "Good night, baby girl. Sweet dreams." "Good night, Daddy. I love you." His hotel suite transformed into a shrine to their relationship. Her artwork covered the walls, crayon drawings of stick figures labeled Me and Daddy, and watercolor paintings from school. Her stuffed animals occupied the couch. Anyone visiting would know immediately that a child was the center of this man's world. But the co-parenting remained frosty. Drop-offs and pickups were exercises in painful politeness. At Zoe's ballet recital, Sienna and Tae-young sat on opposite sides of the small auditorium. When Zoe forgot her steps mid-routine, both parents tensed, then relaxed when she recovered with a giggle. Backstage, afterward, they stood awkwardly as other parents assumed they were divorced. "She did great," Tae-young offered. "Yes, she did." Sienna's tone was neutral, giving nothing. JP was always present during these moments, his hand finding the small of Sienna's back, a physical claim. When Tae-young called, JP would sometimes answer Sienna's phone with a casual, "Hey, she's in the shower. Can I take a message?" His date nights with Sienna occasionally conflicted with Tae-young's scheduled time. "Zoe sees him plenty," JP would say. "She needs stability here too." Sienna didn't notice how JP positioned himself, didn't see the territorial markers he laid down, the way he slowly inserted himself between her and Tae-young's attempts at communication. But at night, sometimes, Sienna would wake at 3 a.m. with a feeling she couldn't name. Unease, like waiting for something to break. She'd tell herself she was being paranoid, that everything was fine. Better than fine. Perfect, even. 6 weeks after Father's Day, Tae-young brought Zoe home from a Saturday at Stone Mountain. She was sound asleep in the back seat, exhausted from hiking. He carried her through the front door, her head heavy on his shoulder, her breath soft and even against his neck. "She was exhausted," he said quietly to Sienna. "We went all the way to the top." "I can see that." Sienna watched as he navigated through her house. He knew the way now, to Zoe's bedroom. She followed, observing as he laid their daughter down gently, removed her shoes, pulled the blanket up to her chin. He whispered something in Korean, pressed a kiss to her forehead, then stood there for a moment, just watching her sleep. When he returned to the living room, the silence stretched between them. "Want coffee?" Sienna heard herself ask. "You drove across the city." His surprise was evident. "Sure, thanks." In the kitchen, making coffee felt strangely intimate, domestic. They'd done this 1,000 times when they were married, but now every movement felt weighted with significance. She could feel him watching her measure the grounds, fill the water reservoir. "She's amazing," Tae-young said. "You've done such an incredible job with her." "Thanks." More silence. The coffee maker gurgled and dripped. "Sienna, I need to talk to you about JP." Her body went rigid immediately. "What about him?" "I'm not comfortable with how much time he spends around Zoe." "That's not your decision to make." "I'm her father. Her safety is absolutely my decision." Sienna spun to face him. He's been nothing but good to her. Has he? Or is he just good at performing? Tae-young's voice was careful, measured. What's that supposed to mean? Something feels off about him. The way he asks questions about your business, the way he positions himself in your life. He's a developer. Of course he's interested in business. It's more than professional curiosity, Sienna. The way he answered your phone last week when I called about Zoe's schedule. This is about jealousy. Her voice went cold. You can't stand that I'm happy with someone else. This isn't about us. It's about Zoe's well-being. My daughter's well-being is my concern, not yours. She's our daughter. The correction hung in the air between them. You had 4 years to be concerned, Sienna said, her voice sharp as glass. Don't start now. That's not fair. Fair? You want to talk about fair? Her laugh was bitter. You left us. You chose your company over your family, and now you think you get to have opinions about my life? Tae-young's jaw clenched. Just be careful, please. For Zoe. I don't need advice from you about protecting my daughter. Our daughter. Get out. He left, frustrated and worried, the folder of preliminary research his team had compiled still in his car. She hadn't even let him get that far. 3 weeks later, Sienna was walking to her car in the Nexus Innovations parking garage when she saw Tae Young leaning against her Mercedes SUV. "We need to talk," he said. She sighed, exhaustion in every line of her body. "Tae, I don't have time for... It's about JP. I had my team look into him." Sienna froze. "You did what?" "His company, Matthews Development. The records are inconsistent." "You investigated my boyfriend?" Fury ignited in her chest, hot and immediate. "For Zoe's safety. For yours. You had no right." "Sienna, his business registration is only 3 months old. 3 months. That's right before he met you at the gala." "He's expanding from the West Coast. Of course Atlanta records are new." "There's no Matthews Development on the West Coast. I checked California, Oregon, Washington. Nothing." "Stop. I don't want to hear this." "You need to hear this. His financial history doesn't add up. His divorce records are... The only thing wrong here is you can't accept that I've moved on." "This isn't about jealousy." "No? Then what is it?" Her voice rose. "You leave for 4 years, come back, and suddenly you're concerned about my choices, about who I let into my life?" "I'm concerned about a man who appeared out of nowhere and positioned himself into your life perfectly. Too perfectly. That's called meeting someone organically. You should try it sometime." "Sienna, please." He held out a folder. "Just look at what my team found. We're done here." She got in her car, started the engine. He was still talking through the window, but she couldn't hear over the blood rushing in her ears. She drove away, leaving him standing alone in the parking garage, holding evidence she refused to see. That evening, Sienna paced her living room. Fury making her movements sharp, JP sat on the couch, concerned. "What's wrong, babe?" "Tae Young had you investigated. Can you believe that?" JP's face transformed into perfect shock, hurt radiating from every feature. What? Why would he do that?" "Because he's jealous. He can't stand that I'm happy." "What did he find? Or claim to find?" "Something about your company records being inconsistent, which is ridiculous." JP stood, crossing to her. "Sienna, if he has questions, I'm happy to answer them. I have nothing to hide." "You shouldn't have to prove anything to him." "No, I want to. Let me send him all my documents. Business registration, financial records, everything. I'll be completely transparent." This response disarmed her completely. A guilty man wouldn't offer full disclosure. A guilty man would be defensive, evasive. "You're too understanding." "I love you." That means accepting your complicated situation, and if showing him documentation puts your mind at ease, I'm happy to do it. She stopped pacing. "What did you say?" "I said I'm happy to show him. Before that, I love you." His eyes were steady, genuine. "I should have said it before, but I love you, Sienna." Tears filled her eyes. "I love you too." The kiss was deep, emotional, sealing something between them. Over her shoulder, invisible to her, JP's expression flickered, calculating, satisfied, before smoothing back into loving boyfriend when they parted. That night, JP entered a modest apartment in a different Atlanta neighborhood. The contrast to the luxury he'd shown Sienna was stark. A woman looked up from the couch. "You're late," Monica said. "How'd it go?" "Perfectly. She told me she loves me." Monica laughed, sharp and cold. "Poor woman. When do we get the money?" "Already moved most of it. Offshore accounts in the Cayman Islands." "So we're clear to run?" 1 week, Friday. We disappear Friday." "Why wait? Let's go now. If I disappear suddenly, she'll freeze everything. I need time to move the rest." He looked at his phone, Sienna and Zoe's smiling faces as his background. Monica noticed. Don't tell me you're catching feelings. Don't be ridiculous. But his expression suggested otherwise. A flicker of something almost like guilt crossed his face. She's smart, beautiful, a good mother. She's also $5 million richer than she'll be next week. Right, it's just business. Monica's eyes narrowed, because if you're having second thoughts, I'm not. The ex-husband is getting suspicious, though. Had me investigated. Find anything? Not yet. My covers are solid, but he's persistent. We need to move faster. So, less than 2 weeks? 1 week, Friday. We disappear Friday. They clinked beer, bottles. JP looked at his phone again, at Zoe's innocent face, and something complicated moved across his features. 1 week, he repeated, quieter this time. If this story's got you hooked, smash that like button and drop a comment. Do you think Tae-young will stop JP in time? Let me know what you think. Tuesday morning, 5 days before JP's planned escape, Crystal sat in her office reviewing quarterly financials. The routine audit should have been straightforward, checking loan disbursements, verifying payment schedules, ensuring everything balanced. But something caught her eye. The Matthews development loan. $5 million, their biggest single loan of the quarter. Crystal clicked through the transfer records, her brow furrowing. The disbursement went to Matthew's account as expected, but then her breath caught. Within 24 hours, the entire amount had been transferred out, not to construction vendors or contractors, but to 3 different offshore accounts. What the hell? She muttered, zooming in on the routing numbers. These weren't construction accounts. These were numbered accounts in the Cayman Islands. She grabbed her phone, calling her contact at the bank. Hi, it's Crystal Williams from Nexus. I need to verify some transfers on the Matthews development account. Can you send me the full transaction history? The email arrived minutes later. Crystal opened the attachment, scrolling through with growing horror. The account had been opened 3 months ago, right before the gala where JP met Sienna. The only transactions were receiving the $5 million and immediately splitting it offshore. No vendor payments, no payroll, no construction costs. Nothing. Crystal pulled up Georgia's business registration database, typing in Matthews Development. The incorporation date made her stomach drop. 3 months ago. She searched for projects, permits, properties, anything that would indicate a legitimate development company. Nothing. The company was a ghost. Oh my God, she whispered. It's a shell company. She dialed her private investigator. Marcus, it's Crystal. I need a full background check. Rush. The name is Junpyo Matthews. Everything. Real identity, criminal history, financials, everything. I need it. 24 hours later, Wednesday afternoon, an encrypted email arrived. Crystal opened the PI report and the blood drained from her face. Real name. James Park. Not Junpyo Matthews. Criminal record in California. 3 counts of fraud, 2 convictions. Same MO every time. Romance scam targeting successful women in business. There were photos. James with 3 different women over the past 5 years. Each one a business owner. Each one defrauded of significant amounts. And then the marriage certificate. Monica Park. Married 5 years ago. Never divorced. Recent surveillance photos showed James and Monica together. At a grocery store last week. At a gas station 2 days ago. Different neighborhood, modest apartment. Nothing like the luxury he'd claimed. Crystal's hands shook as she scrolled to the last page. Flight reservations. 2 tickets to the Cayman Islands. Departing Friday afternoon. Sienna, Crystal breathed. She checked her calendar. Tae-young was scheduled to discuss Zoe's birthday party. He'd be here in an hour. Crystal made a decision. Tell them together. Sienna would need the support. Wednesday afternoon, Sienna's office felt different than usual. Tae-young sat in the visitor chair, not across the desk, but beside it, the positioning less formal. They were looking at Pinterest boards on her laptop, planning Zoe's 5th birthday party. She wants Frozen theme, Tae-young said, scrolling through elaborate Elsa cakes. Very specific. Everything has to be Elsa, not Anna. Sienna laughed, and the sound was genuine, unguarded. She's watched that movie 47 times. I've counted. Should we do it at your place or rent a venue? My place is fine. Keep it small. Just family. The word hung between them, weighted with meaning. I'd like to invite my parents, Tae-young said carefully. If that's okay. Sienna considered. For 4 years, she'd kept Zoe from Tae-young's family out of anger, out of hurt. But Zoe deserved to know her grandparents. Yes, Zoe should meet them. Thank you. His gratitude was palpable. That means a lot. They looked at each other, really looked, and something shifted. A crack in the wall Sienna had built so carefully. This is nice, Tae-young said softly, talking without fighting. Yeah, it is. He hesitated, then took the risk. Sienna, about what I said before, about JP. She sighed, but didn't immediately shut down. Tae, can we not just hear me out? Please, I'm not trying to control you. I just want to protect you, both of you. You've said that, but you can't give me specifics. Because something just feels wrong. My instincts are screaming at me that something's off about him. Your instincts were wrong before, she said, but her voice lacked its usual sharpness. The door burst open. Crystal stood there, her face pale, eyes wide. Sienna, Tae-young, conference room, now. Crystal, we're in the middle. It's about JP, and it can't wait. Crystal's expression was dead serious, slightly panicked. Sienna and Tae-young exchanged glances, then followed her to the conference room. Crystal had already spread documents across the table, her laptop open to multiple screens. The $5 million loan to Matthews Development, Crystal began without preamble. It was transferred offshore within 24 hours of disbursement. 3 different Cayman accounts. Sienna leaned forward. That doesn't necessarily mean... Matthews Development was incorporated 3 months ago. 3 months, right before the gala. Crystal pulled up the business registration. Before that, there's no Matthews Development anywhere on the West Coast. California, Oregon, Washington, nothing. No projects, no permits, no properties, no employees. Sienna's face began draining of color. It's a shell company, Crystal continued, set up specifically for this loan. Tae-young stood, his jaw clenched with controlled fury. Where is he now? That's not all. Crystal pulled out the PI report. His name isn't Junpyo Matthews. She displayed the mugshot. It's James Park, criminal record in California, 3 counts of fraud, 2 convictions. No. Sienna's voice was small, breaking. You're wrong. You have to be wrong. He's done this before. Same MO, romance scam targeting successful women. Crystal showed the photos. James with 3 other women over 5 years. And this is Monica Park. A marriage certificate appeared on screen. His wife. Not ex-wife, wife. They've been married 5 years. Recent surveillance photos showed James and Monica together, clearly a couple, at mundane locations around Atlanta. Different neighborhood, modest apartment, nothing like the luxury he'd claimed to Sienna. Sienna sat down heavily, her hand over her mouth. Oh my God. According to his credit card records, Crystal continued, he has tickets to the Cayman Islands. Flight itinerary appeared on screen. 2 tickets, Friday afternoon. He's leaving in 4 days with your $5 million. Tae-young's fist hit the table with controlled violence. Where is he right now? Unknown, probably preparing to... Crystal stopped, typing rapidly on her laptop. Wait, I can track his phone location. Her fingers flew across the keyboard. His phone is at Nexus. He's in the building. All three froze. What? Sienna's voice was strangled. His phone location shows the lobby. He's here. Tae-young pulled out his phone. Did he have a meeting scheduled? Sienna checked her calendar with shaking hands. Lunch. We were supposed to have lunch today. I forgot. He's walking into a trap, Tae-young said. Crystal, call building security. Tell them to stall him. He was already dialing. I'm calling the police. This is Tae-young Choi, CEO of Choi Industries. He spoke rapidly into the phone. I'm reporting multiple counts of fraud and embezzlement. Wire fraud, identity fraud, theft of $5 million. He gave details to the dispatcher while Sienna stared at the photos of JP, James, with Monica, with his wife. How did I not see it? Sienna whispered. I'm supposed to be smart. I built a billion-dollar company. How could I be this stupid? Crystal sat beside her. He was good, professional. This is what he does. I led him around. Zoe, Sienna's voice cracked. I brought a criminal into my daughter's life. Tae-young crouched in front of her. You didn't know. But you knew. You tried to warn me twice, and I accused you of jealousy. None of that matters now. His voice was firm, anchoring. What matters is stopping him. He finished with the police. They're sending detectives, issuing a warrant, 10 minutes out. Crystal typed more. His phone is moving. He's in the elevator, coming up. Through the conference room's glass walls, they could see the elevator doors open. JP stepped out, designer casual clothes, flowers in hand, expecting a pleasant lunch date with his girlfriend. Then he saw the police officers emerging from the stairwell. His face transformed, confidence to confusion to panic in seconds. He turned back toward the elevator, but 2 officers blocked his path. James Park? I think you have the wrong. You're under arrest for fraud, embezzlement, and wire fraud. Handcuffs clicked around his wrists. You have the right to remain silent. Employees watched as James was walked through the office. He was brought to the conference room where Sienna stood, Tae-young protective beside her. Sienna, I can explain. Explain what? Her voice was ice over broken glass, tears streaming down her cheeks. That you're married? That your company is fake? That you stole $5 million from me? It's not what it looks like. I trusted you. I loved you. I let you around my daughter. For the first time, his mask slipped. Genuine regret crossed his face. I'm sorry, for what it's worth. I am sorry. What's it worth? Tell me, James. Or is it JP? Do I even know your real name? The officer pulled him toward the door. Let's go. As he was led out, he looked back once. I did care about you. That wasn't fake. Tae-young's voice was cold. Get him out of here. Through the window, Sienna watched as James Park was put into a police car, flowers trampled on the sidewalk. After the police left, Crystal ushered everyone out. We'll need formal statements tomorrow, an officer said. Sienna nodded numbly. Crystal caught Tae-young at the door. Stay with her. Don't let her be alone. The office door closed. Just Sienna and Tae-young remained, city lights beginning to glow as afternoon faded to dusk. Sienna stood at the window, perfectly still, shoulders rigid. Sienna, Tae-young said softly. Please don't say anything. Okay. He just waited, patient, present. Her shoulders started shaking. She was crying silently. He crossed to her slowly, stopping a few feet behind her. You were right, she whispered. About everything, and I didn't listen. You wanted to believe the best in someone. That's not wrong. She whirled around, tears streaming. It is when. You're a mother! When you have a daughter to protect. Her voice broke. I brought him into her life, Tay. I led a criminal around our baby. You didn't know. He was very good at what he did. I'm supposed to be smart. I built this company from nothing. She was sobbing now. How could I be so stupid? You're not stupid. You were healing, trying to move forward. By trusting a con artist? By giving him $5 million? Her voice rose. I could lose everything. The company, the house, Zoe's future. You won't. We'll get it back. How can you know that? Because I won't let you lose everything. I'll cover whatever we can't recover. That's not your responsibility. You're the mother of my child. That makes it my responsibility. I don't need you to save me. I know. You've never needed anyone to save you. He stepped closer. But everyone needs support sometimes. She collapsed into her desk chair, head in hands. I'm so tired, Tay. So tired of being strong, of fighting, of trying to protect everyone while my world falls apart. He knelt in front of her chair. Then stop. Just for tonight. Stop being strong. I can't. If I stop, I'll fall apart. Then fall apart. I'll catch you. She looked at him, really looked at him, saw genuine love, no agenda, just him wanting to help. Something in her shattered. The sobs came from deep in her chest. Years of pain, abandonment, single motherhood, betrayal, exhaustion. All of it pouring out. He moved beside her, pulled her into his arms. She didn't resist, buried her face in his shoulder and cried like she hadn't let herself cry in 4 years. He held her, one hand on her back, one stroking her hair, saying nothing, just present, being the support she'd needed but wouldn't accept. I loved him, she gasped between sobs. How could I love someone who was lying the whole time? Because you have a good heart, because you're brave enough to love after being hurt. I'm not brave, I'm terrified. Brave people are always terrified. They just don't let it stop them. She pulled back slightly. Why are you being so nice to me? I've been horrible to you for months. Because I love you. I never stopped. And when someone you love is hurting, you help them. That's what love is. Fresh tears fell. I don't deserve your help. Yes, you do. You deserve everything good. You always have. She leaned back into him. They sat as the office darkened, city lights bright outside. Her crying slowed to hiccups, then silence, just breathing together. What am I going to tell Zoe? She finally asked. We'll figure it out. Together. Together? If you'll let me. No pressure, no expectations. Just let me be here. Long pause. Okay. Okay? I can't do this alone anymore. I tried, and I nearly destroyed everything. You didn't destroy anything. You built something incredible. He tried to steal it, but we stopped him. She looked at him. We? Yeah, we. You and me, co-parents and whatever else we figure out along the way. A small smile through tears. I'm a mess right now. I know, that's okay. Thank you for today, for being here, for not saying I told you so. That's not what you need, and what you need matters more than being right. He helped her gather her things, his hand on her back, guiding her gently. They left the office together. Crystal caught them at the elevator. I'll handle everything tomorrow. You rest. In the elevator, Sienna leaned against the wall, exhausted. Tae Young stood close, protective. I'll explain to Zoe when we get home, Sienna said. Age appropriate. That JP had to go away. I'll stay, if you want, to help explain. Yes, please. She'll want to see you anyway. Small smile between them. The elevator doors opened to the parking garage. His hand found hers. She didn't pull away. They walked to her car together, him opening the passenger door. I've got you, he said softly. For the first time in 4 years, she believed him. They say what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. I used to believe that. Now I think what doesn't kill you just makes you more careful about who you trust. But maybe, just maybe, it also shows you who was worth trusting all along. If this story moved you, smash that like button and subscribe for more incredible stories. Drop a comment. Do you think Sienna and Tae-young can really make it work this time? Should she give him a second chance? Let me know what you think below.